Welcome to another episode of 24 Carats. I'm Kelly Johnson, and I am delighted to be back with Melissa and Veronica, where we are talking about Latinas and the beauty and the power within all women, and specifically the great work that you all are doing with Hey Chica. So thanks for coming back. Real quick plug, if you didn't catch the other conversations that we are having with Veronica and Melissa, make sure you go back because they're fire. All right, thank you again. Really want to maybe round out this series and this important conversation with what's next, right? And, you know, what should we be thinking about from a Latina community perspective? What are you all thinking about, and what kind of questions are you asking yourself?
Yeah, you know, this past year, you'll see in our programming, Hey Chica kind of went dormant for a year. And it wasn't, not only just COVID was happening, but it was a discovery that I was going through for myself. Being laid off and experiencing that, that's a conversation that we need to have because a lot of people were affected by that in that sense. And people were calling me and saying, what's going on with Hey Chica? What's going on with Hey Chica? And it gave me anxiety. Like, I want to talk about mental health tied to that in a sense to where I was always chasing like the what's next. And like, I think celebrities operate on that, like their expectation of who they are begins to creep in. And then it compromises, right, the authenticity of what happens. And I think it's important that we talk about that because I decided that I was going to say, if someone's like, what's next? I'm going to say, I don't know, but I can't wait to find out because it gives me a beginner's mind. And we don't know, like, issues are going to come up. COVID happened, right? Like, I can't wait to find what the next thing that's going to cause a shift in humanity is. And I know that this year is about self-discovery and for all women, all people. And what I'm seeing now that we came out the gate with all the program, we went dormant for so long and now we're like program out. During that time I sat quiet, I really knew where I was going. We actually formed it into a nonprofit. Like, a lot of people didn't know that. It didn't start as a nonprofit. It was something I wanted to do, right? It wasn't even a thing that I had to go and get put respect on and get a bank account and call it something and report it to the IRS. But I knew that the work we were doing was something bigger, and a nonprofit was the best suited way to make sure that we were still investing in the work that we were doing and not necessarily the business. Because everyone, just like anything else, they look at Latinos, it's capitalism. Oh, how can we make money? It's a fast growing market. We kind of shy away from the importance of the work. And that's what happened. And I feel like now I have a real clear strategy of where we're going. And the good thing is I have board members and people like Melissa that they're like, yes, like whatever it is, I can say, hey, we're doing this, and they're on board, and all the chicas are on board, right? But I see this going bigger. I see it as a facility, as a leadership institute where anyone can walk in and say, I need to learn about myself. I need to learn about my community. I need to learn about in a safe space with all of the chicness with Hey Chica. But I think we have an opportunity to educate non-Latinas, non-Latinos on who we are in the best, safe, trusted way, you know. And I don't know if the programming does continue or it doesn't continue. I don't attach to that in that way because I feel like that's where we run into problems, and then we allow other people to come and tell us who we are, especially if they're giving us money. Obviously, I have a lot of companies that, we're trying to get in the Latino community, you know, like, can I write a check? And then we get lost in that stuff. And I think it's important for the listeners to know that when you're really doing sacred work and it's coming from that place, keep your eyes and your heart open, and you don't have to make a decision on anything in life. Even if it's a new job or career, you have to be self-led. There has to be a pure place that people always say, I prayed about this, or I've meditated about it, or I took a moment in silence to really dig deep and find out where I need to be. And that's the surest place for me in the decisions that happen. Don't you feel like that?
Yeah. I think what we're able to educate people on comes through the discoveries that we're having, right? Like we said before. And if we don't take the time that we need to discover, then we're not going to be able to give a really good education on whatever it is, whether it be self-care, whether it be leadership, advocacy, whatever it is. We've got to take the time to be present with ourselves in order to be present with others.
I think it's okay I want to give women permission to start over. You know what I mean? Like it feels so good for me to rearrange my room or to throw out a notebook that's full of like there's something that's like inside of us that wants a refresh and a restart, and it's okay to let it go, right? That's part of the purging of it all. And I think in the future, when you see Hey Chica programming, I want people to know that it's not coming from a social media hype. It's not like the new trend. It's coming from a place of necessity and something that's deeper than anything else. It's never what it is. Like,
Right.
it's never tacos and chill, right? I use that frame. I wear the shirt because that's just the entryway to the conversation. But what's really happening is a nod to our culture with the tacos and the sisterhood and the community. So if anyone's like, what's going to happen next with the Hey Chica, I want them to feel comfortable and confident that it's going to come from the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
The stock that's overboiled, that's been looked at, and it's not a cheap plastic that we throw on the shelf.
Yeah.
In that sense.
And I think we started the conversation, from the very beginning with the level of authenticity and intentionality that you all work within. And so I love that you're staying true to that and really honoring that, even in a period of discovery, resetting, refreshing. I also want to make sure that we're giving, through this platform, an opportunity to give voice to concerns, issues, questions that maybe the mass public may not be aware of, right? So speak to what are those questions or those concerns that you all are listening to as you are in that period of discovery, right? Because I suspect, don't want to assume, but it seems as if in those quiet moments, you're also listening, right? You're really absorbing what you've heard other people say to you, and even from your own experiences. So speak to that.
Yeah, so again, going back to that, we only share our own personal experience. So that's what makes it hard. Like I get so many emails from women like, you need to do this, I'm struggling with this, or I'm struggling with that. And I feel like they just want to be seen. People just want to be heard and be seen. And if we can see you and understand and show empathy for it, or give you the tools to be seen, that doesn't shift on, if we deviate from that. And we've done that before, where I thought, oh, Latinas are into education right now. And we shift and we're like moving on education. And the people that are like, that's not my jam. So then we go back, but if education's affecting me because of my kids, then I can come and show up and be authentic and rage, and then they feel it. And I did an interview, and they were asking me as a public speaker, like, what do you want to leave your audience? And I'm like, I want them to feel me. That's it, period. If the energy is right and they feel me, then they're going to remember it. Not even what I said, right? And so if Hey Chica talks about the things that are affecting Melissa, Susie, Margie, Ana Crista, me, then, there's 8 people that are having life experiences that are all Latina. It's going to resonate because they're going to identify with it. And it's a shift on how that is. I think we get really scared to address like the issue at hand, but that's just the hot topic in pop culture to me. When I think about that, when I think about life happening and journey and milestones and rites of passage, that's what people are really having, and they're not having those conversations on social media. You know what I mean? Right. So you really have your ear to the ground and really know what's happening because you're experiencing it. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. These are the conversations we have when I invite her over to have a drink or we're cooking out. I'm like, do you know this? Oh my God, we need to talk about that. Or you know what I mean? Like, this happened today, we need to talk about that. And then we own it. No one's telling us what to talk about. We own it, and we can stand behind it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, a lot of the things that we talk about are incredibly personal things that we've sat with, and we've felt the pain, and we've felt the sadness and the anger of whatever experience we're talking about. And until we move through that, we don't go over it, we don't go past it, we move through it. And then we hold space for each other as we're doing that as sisters, and we know that we can, in that space, in Veronica's backyard or at her kitchen table, we know that that's where it happens. And that's the feeling that we want women, where they know that they can come to a Hey Chica event and they're going to leave having discovered something new about themselves, having to step into a vulnerability that leaves them feeling lighter after.
I like to reference Goop, right? I'll use Goop, right? Goop doesn't worry about what everyone else is doing, right? Goop does Goop and on another level. But I think that I like that we could be that for Chicas. And so almost now to the point, I feel like, I don't even want to say it out loud, I might jinx it. Now people are watching what we're doing and they're following that. It's almost like the LA Times, like wherever you go for your real raw information, Hey Chica's becoming that source. And that really tells you that what we're doing is like, people are looking at it. So now if Hey Chica's talking about Latina equal pay, that must be important, whether it's not or it is. So then you see general market and everyone, oh, we need to do an event around Latina equal pay. So I feel like that. Don't you feel like that?
Yeah,
now people
absolutely.
are like, oh, well, we need to get Hey Chica involved, or let's go see what Hey Chica's doing, and then we kind of, that's important to Latinas. So you almost fall into this trusted, the trusted source.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that feels so good. And it's also very humbling, and it makes me have more, holding it sacred, I guess. It gives me more reverence to what it really means, and I don't want to, it's pure, and I don't want to mess with it and make it unpure and unauthentic. I just want to honor that.
So one of the things, it's just really resonated throughout our entire conversation is courage, right? Yes, authenticity, intentionality, but it takes courage to be authentic. It takes courage to be intentional and not follow the norm of what the world says you should do to have a thriving organization that reaches communities, right? Most will tell you, well, look at the data and make sure that your 3 pillars are aligned to the data, right? You all have bucked that, which I love, right? Not that you don't use data, but I love that you're like, no, this is from our stories.
Mm-hmm.
This was Margie's, this was Susie's, this was Melissa's story, right? And we're sitting with that and we're working through it together in sisterhood to figure out what do we need to do with it. And so speak to those who maybe feel like that ain't me, I can't do it, right? Because I feel like all of us have something to contribute and to give back to others, but I see so many people sit on the sidelines and they don't get in the game.
And that's sad to see, right? That's the lesson for me when I'm doing this. It comes from my family, having to raise my siblings and attaching to their life and thinking that it's mine to tell them what to do and what to say. And I had, again, during that year of discovery, like I can't make people drink the water. I can't make people want more for themselves. I don't control any of that, right? And I don't feel attached to it anymore like I used to. I took it very personal. And now I'm like, if I'm living it, they're going to see it and they're going to want to be a part of it. Energy will speak for itself. And so when that person is ready and ripe to receive it, then it'll happen. And that's just like long-standing even in religion and church. When you find God, people say, right? Well, when you find yourself, it's going to happen in those moments in a conversation, in a post, and that's as pure as you can get. It's not something that I influence in a way. It's just because I'm exuding that energy and feeling of liberation through my story and my courage. And that's what I think people say to us, right? They're like, oh my God, I felt something. Just like you, I'm sure I'm feeling your energy and you're feeling ours in the same way. It's something you're like, wow, I can't buy that, And we have to, that's how I honor that. But Melissa probably has a different lens on how do you motivate that? Giving up control.
Listen, it's not easy. But I think that, the more I talk about how it's like you start off with a room, right? And the room is full from the floor to the ceiling of stuff. Mm-hmm. And you want to decorate the room with the things that make you happy and the things you have experiences with the people that you love in that room. But you can't do that until you clear out the stuff in that room. And so I think just knowing what lies on the other side of that, having experienced the love, having experienced the clarity and the space and the fresh air, I think that that's the motivation. It's not easy to step into that, but I know that with Hey Chica, with Veronica, with my friends, I have a space to go free of judgment. That no matter what happens, no matter what I express, the next time I see that person, our relationship is the same. We still love each other. We still operate in that sisterhood. And that's what Hey Chica is.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can always come home, right? If you look at it from the most basic point of home is who you are and your roots and your culture. And we're separated by that by years. I'm fourth generation Mexican. I didn't want to come home until after college because I didn't even know that I was different. So at the end of the day, at the most basic sense, we want people to know they can always come home to their sister, to their whatever that is in culture. And we're going to cultivate that in a space, and then you can find it when it's your time and when you're open to receive it.
You said it's not easy, but what's on the other side? In my mind, it's worth it, right? It's not easy. You all are doing the work on behalf of so many women, which I just love and respect so much, and just want to honor what you're doing and the authenticity in which you're doing it. And I hope that others are taking some courage from that to say, not easy, it's out of my comfort zone, but it's so worth it. I tell some of my friends, my girlfriends sometimes, I'm like, you have no idea what's on the other side of your mountain, right? But you got to climb that mountain. Otherwise, you don't get to see it, right? And so just what you're doing resonates so well with some of the things that we are passionate about at Caris, of just caring for other people and really respecting and honoring. So thanks for sharing with us everything that you're doing. Continued success.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know it'll be awesome. And for those of you who want to connect with Hey Chica, make sure that you're following them on all their social platforms. Support the work that they're doing. They were recently recognized by DCEO magazine for their nonprofit work around voter registration. So kudos to you all and your success. And stay tuned for more of 24 Caris, where we help you live your commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion 24/7.